Is it?
Notice of this meeting was advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Trueblood? Present. Mr. Cartier?
Present.
Mr. Tompkins?
Here.
Ms. Jackson? Present. Mr. Allen?
Present. This meeting is now called to order. Closed session resolution number 98-2016. This resolution authorizes council to go into closed session. Administration, solicitor, or council, are there any items for closed session this evening?
I have nothing, Council President.
And I see Dave shaking his head no.
We have nothing.
Thank you. Moving on. Public comments. This portion of the meeting allows the public to speak on any agenda item. Ms. Quinn?
And that would be any item, not any agenda item, any item.
Yes. To include agenda items.
Good evening, all.
Good
evening.
A couple of minor questions I have with things on the agenda. 105-2016. Is this like grant money or money we had somewhere else?
It's grant money.
And I'm assuming the same one below it, 106-2016, the 500,000 is grant money too?
Yes.
101-2016. What's this? What are these trust balances?
They're the very old accounts, am I correct, Jason? Yeah. Old accounts that they tried to get the money back from people, and they got no response, so the money is ours. Am I correct in that explanation, Dennis?
I was actually going to pull them to ask the same questions.
Yes, it's unused trust and escrow accounts for various applications that applicants submit under our ordinances, and then once the projects are completed, we come to council for a resolution to authorize a refund after a period of time under law of us making efforts to get them to communicate with us so we can refund their money. If they are unresponsive, law allows us to keep the money, and that's what this resolution does, is authorizes under law the transfer from trust accounts to the general fund. Basically, it becomes revenue of the township.
Thank you.
If I can, I'm sorry. So this is actually something I was going to ask later on, so since it's here, it will go in the general funds to be expended however?
Well, it goes to the general fund as unanticipated revenue.
Okay.
It doesn't get spent anywhere because it's not a part of any expenditure part of the budget. It ultimately goes to surplus at the end of the year.
Okay.
Am I allowed to ask a question about new business?
Sure.
Yes, you can speak on any matter. This is the public portion.
What is these water meters? Are they for residential or commercial?
They're residential. We replaced the broken water meters. Every year.
This is just for people who have public water, correct? So is this $4,600 a part of their responsibility, or is this going to be that everybody pays it?
These are water meters that we annually replace throughout the township. As they get older, they're less accurate, And sometimes people have problems with them that they're not running right. We get bad readings, so we'll replace them there. But we try and keep the meters up to current so that we get accurate readings and we get accurate billings. So these are just replenishing the stock annually that we do.
I have well water, that's why I'm asking.
Oh yeah, well you wouldn't get a meter.
No, I know
You
that.
wouldn't get
I'm just saying.
It goes against the water budget.
Thank
Oh
you.
yes, I'm sorry.
That's-
Yes, yeah, that's at the end of the day, it's charged to the water budget.
Okay. One other couple things I want to bring to the council's attention. Mr. Mayor, you and I had talked about this, but the Choctaw Dam, as you come down Choctaw from Lakehurst Road, right at the edge where they put the brand new paving on right after they were finished, it was busted up, and I know it was supposed to be fixed by the contractor at the time.
Yes,
And
it
I know
will be.
winter has since passed, but I was
Right.
just wondering what was up with that.
The engineers are working with the contractor to get that fixed, but it will be repaired.
Okay, and the other thing I noticed coming home today that might be an issue is the township paved part of Simontown Road off of Burrs Mill Road. When you come down Simontown Road past where the township paved, there's a couple blind turns, and there's some serious craters on the edge of the blind turns. There's no way two cars are going to get by without somebody not hitting the craters on the side of the road that, could cause an axle issue or something, or a flat tire. I came that way on my way here, so it's further up from where you paved. It's not what you did, it's where it wasn't paved. So I don't know if the rest of that is on your list to be paved, or...
Not at this time, but we'll look at those two spots. We actually are bringing the pothole killer in. Apparently there's one available, so we'll get out there with our new patch machine and try and patch it, and then if we can get the rest of the road with the pothole killer, we'll try and tighten it up this year.
Yeah, it's on the side, and the side's deteriorating, and there's a couple craters, so... I think that's what I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, was your hand up?
My name is Troy Fenn. Me and my wife Lisa own a home over in the Rathball Village area on 2nd Avenue. And we've had a water runoff issue at the end of the street there. When you're coming down 2nd Avenue, there's 3 houses on the left and there's 2 on the right. Ours is the second one on the right, and to the right of our property is all wooded area. It's owned by, I think it's owned by Don Beta's mom. And what's happening is the road is sloped like the podium is here, and the rainwater from the whole neighborhood is running down the road. It's coming down this side of the road, and what gets down to where the flat is, it's running across into our driveway, and all the water on this side is coming down and running across our driveway and collecting on an area which is at the edge of our concrete pad, and it's eroded a big sinkhole there, and it's also made a big gully going into the woods, and there's now trees falling over from that, and the dirt and whatnot that's underneath our concrete pad is starting to erode from that. A couple weeks ago, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, I called Public Works. Took me about a week and a half. Phil came out, he looked at it, took a few photos. He told me that he was going to email or show the photos to the mayor. I don't know if he actually did. At that point, he also told me that because it's private property, the township doesn't get involved in something like that. At that point, I said to him, so what you're telling me is that all the water runoff from the neighborhood, which is coming onto my property, I'm responsible for disposing of all that water. he told me that there would have to be a, I forget what he called it, something that you guys would have a right of way of going in there with an excavator. An easement. And putting a water drain there and a drain line going into the woods there. I have additional pictures here so you guys can all see what damage is done. If you could kindly look at them all, you'll see how the water's running down the road, how it's coming across the street and collecting, and you'll see the hole that's on the side of my parking pad.
What street did you say again?
Second Avenue.
Second Avenue.
Or where the last house on the right, and it's right at the end of the street there.
Ask him to sign in.
And the final picture that's there, which shows the actual hole,
That's where it's going.
what I did was, my wife noticed that the ground had an indent in it. So I went with a chainsaw and cut all the brush down from the fence that's there to expose it. While I was doing that, I fell through it and went up to my hips with my left leg, at which point that's when I realized how deep it was. So what I was able to do was take like a handle from a rake and see how far down it went. The rake is probably about this tall, and when I put it down in the hole, it only stands about this far above my parking pad, the concrete pad. And I would say the size of the hole is probably from the gate there, at least this big. And it's actually going underneath the concrete pad now. So my concern is the continuation of the erosion, my pad cracking and or sinking, and then, I'm going to have, I don't know how many thousands of dollars of repair for the concrete pad.
Dave, if you've talked to Phil on this,
I have, and that's what I've actually done. I haven't seen the photos because his phone, he couldn't get the photos up that particular day, but he described it to me in detail. We did have a meeting on this, and he did have a course of action that he was going to take. I'm actually surprised they haven't brought that back up or started something there. There's a couple of options that we have there, and capturing the water in the shoulder, which we generally do, and then potentially putting a water bar up if necessary at your driveway. The problem with the water bars is they create a slight bump going into your driveway. They keep anything from coming from the roadway into your driveway. And if your elevation in your driveway is lower than the road, then sometimes that's all we can do. But on the shoulders and on both sides, we can capture the water and regenerate it back into the ground, recharge it on the shoulders. And I know that's what we discussed, and I'll check with him tomorrow to see where we're at with that. Find out if that's up on the schedule, high enough on the schedule to get that started sooner than later.
if I can add into that, you know that I've mentioned drainage before many times, and you said Second Avenue. That's right around the corner from Estate Avenue, correct?
State road, yeah.
Estate Road?
Yeah.
And I know there was a gentleman that owned a house on Estate. He was a military master sergeant, and he was getting water damage in his basement all the time, and he finally abandoned the house because of the damage.
Well, if it's caused by our property, if we're bringing water onto your property from the roadways, or if we have vacant property, then it is our responsibility. Just because you're getting water, drainage is a serious problem throughout the township. I've heard you say it enough times, but stick around and you'll see how many times it's brought up. We discussed drainage as long as I've been in office, and long before that we're going to continue. That's because of the poor planning in the township, the way they built this town, and they didn't really figure in planning. They built houses in holes, and we're now, chasing this. But we know of this issue. I'm aware of it. I have talked to Phil about some remedies, and we will follow up on this with him tomorrow to find out where they're at. And if you want to give me your number, I can give you a call tomorrow and let you know what the status is.
I mean, it would seem to me that one of the options he said was to create the little dam across the top of our driveway to continue the water running.
Right.
And the problem with that is that there's a electric pole there and a big sycamore tree, and if the water was to go there,
We still have to then capture it on the other side of the driveway and recharge it back in the ground. We're doing one now on Brown Road, where we basically dig a ditch along the shoulder of the road. We'll put stone in there. We'll put a perforated pipe in, and then cover it with stone and felt, and then that way, it'll go, and that pipe becomes a charging system. It'll fill that pipe and allow it to perk back into the ground. That's what we have mainly in the town. We have very few storm drains, like you would see in the cities, where they capture the water and they send it off and it ends up in a river or a stream. Most of ours has nowhere to go, so we have to recharge it. And the problem comes in when the water table's high.
yeah.
It can't perk. It doesn't go back into
I
the
understand
ground. But we'll find out more when they open this up and they can put a pipe in there. But that was the solution that we came up with, in putting a recharge system in on both sides of your driveway, and then trying to capture, across your driveway with potentially a small, what we call a water dam.
Okay. Because in the wooded area next to our house on this side, there's I'm going to call it a runoff creek or runoff stream, which is the storm runoff from Lake Valley. And that runs through there. So I don't know if a hole could be dug there and a storm drain put in and a culvert put in to
That would be
send it that way.
a better solution as far as pulling water away, but we're not allowed to hook up outfall pipes into streams and creeks and rivers and ponds without getting DEP approval, and
It'll never happen.
that's
in the
not going to
pilot.
happen.
Yeah.
We have to now monitor all the ones that we have and report to them annually the number of outfalls that we have, because they're now regulating them more closely, which is not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because all this stuff that runs into these drains ends up in our waterways. So they have to come up with some solution. So they pretty much said, okay, everyone that has them, you have them, but now they come up with things like you have to clean your streets with street sweepers X amount of times a year, all kind of different things to try and prevent stuff from going in there. What we're afforded with is the option of putting in these recharge systems, and that's what we put in when we don't have a system in place. When we do have a system, we'll go in and we'll try and clean out the lines, and it's a permitted use already. But when it's not, we can't just tap in that. Now, mind you, it can naturally go that way on the surface and end up in that creek. That's just the way it's going to go, but we can't send it there with a pipe.
But it's going to go there anyway.
I hear you.
I understand all the rules and regulations and all that, but ultimately that's where it's going anyway, and where the water's running down it's right down to the sand, and there's trees in line that are like this. I mean, it's just washing them right out.
What we don't capture, let's hope ends up down there from the surface, but we can't pipe it and send it there. We're not allowed. Just not allowed.
All right.
But I will check with them tomorrow and make sure we get on top of this and find out. I'll let you know what the status is when we can start this project.
Because I have been,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have been watching it over the last month or two, and it has been getting quite a bit bigger and deeper, and it's moving closer to the road. So it's kind of like one of those things where time is of the essence, because if a lot more of that dirt erodes, my concrete pad is just going to do one of these things and dive down.
Sure.
And
Mr.
like
Finn, if you could provide Dave with your contact information, and before you leave the podium, if you could sign your name and print your address.
Okay.
And
Okay.
thank you for the pictures. Dave, the pictures are next to you if you want to.
Okay. Yes.
For a nominal fee.
Well, I think he took pictures of the actual hole, and it wasn't raining that day when he was there, so
Are any of your neighbors experiencing like little sinkholes like that, or are you the only one right now?
No. The lady that lives across the street from me, she told me that years back she had an issue with water, and there was one of those little asphalt dams put in front of her yard, and it's kind of keeping the water from going into her.
I think I saw that in one of your pictures where there was
Yeah,
a car parked
yeah,
on
it's right,
it.
yep, right
Yeah.
where her car's parked. So all that water, and even the house on the end where Don Beatty used to live, that road is tilted like this a little bit, and all the water that's falling there is actually coming right to where that corner is. I mean, you can see it in the pictures. It's all collecting right in that one spot.
It's nice you don't need a street sweeper as often with that, you know.
And there's no public sewer or drain,
I think they got to be separated though anyway, the
yeah, but
runoff.
there's no storm drains in the neighborhood. I don't think there's any in the whole neighborhood.
There's one on 3rd Avenue in Scrapetown, I think.
Is there?
And that's, oh, by the way, thanks.
I'm not sure.
Public Works was working on that, Dave, and it looks like it's sinking in again on 3rd Avenue in Scrapetown.
Thank you, Mr. Finn.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public?
Good evening, my name is John Harris,
Good evening. Good evening.
Pemberton Township, recognized the street for a good many years. Questions I have for you tonight,
If you could just print your address,
sure,
please. Oh, and your name.
Pemberton Township is getting some unfavorable press the last few months. I've been out of town for a while, so I'm kind of behind the times catching up. And I have some questions concerning this lawsuit that went on, and I know you're supposedly not to be saying anything about this lawsuit, so maybe I can ask you about what happened before the lawsuit. It seems that we have a police officer who was pregnant and someone decided that she couldn't have light duty. Do you know who made this decision?
There was an issue with the chief and then the administration about whether light duty was available for police or not.
You say the chief of the administration.
Yeah.
Who's the administration?
The mayor and administrator.
The mayor. The mayor then decided that she should or should not have light duty.
There was Dennis, see if you want.
The litigation is over, but she could only perform there is no light duty available for officers other than when they are injured in the line of duty, and then only if it is absolutely a service that is needed. All of our police officers of that particular rank are patrol officers. Of the 88 or so identified duties in the job description of the state of New Jersey, that officer could only perform about 4 of them. So there was no light duty available, but she was afforded all of the rights under state and federal law with respect to her disability payments and time off with pay.
Wasn't she denied the right to have payment if she took time off? She had to use her own money?
She doesn't use her time,
Pardon?
her money, but it's her time.
It's her time, just like if anybody is sick. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if an officer is playing baseball and he hurt his leg and was hobbling around, would he be put on light duty, or would you make him have to pay for his own time
Sir,
off?
you got to address the council.
No, that
He's the one
officer
talking to me, so
would not be on light duty.
it sounds like you got a double standard and you're about 100 years behind the times. And it sounds like you're giving a hard time to women for no reason at all, and I don't think that's right. And I think you could have done a better job. And it shouldn't have to cost the township $150,000 to find out that you screwed up, whichever one of you did it. $150,000. What would it cost to give her light duty or just pay her for a few months? Not $150,000. That's a waste of taxpayer money. You're asking for more taxes for us to pay for that. We're a poor community here. Don't have a lot of money. Whoever made that decision was really stupid.
Agree.
and they shouldn't be in this position.
Sir, we did not pay
Do you think it's funny?
$150,000.
Are you laughing about it? You seem to think it's a big joke. I don't think it's a big joke at all. I don't think $150,000 is a
You
joke.
should be clear with your
And I
facts,
don't
sir.
think that
You should be
giving
clear
a
with your
hard time
facts,
to
sir.
a woman because she's a woman and not
Mayor, just
that
wait
of
till
a
he's
man
done.
is not right.
Mayor, well, sir, what the mayor's trying to tell you is that the township's insurance company took and controlled the defense of the matter, and the bulk of the payment came from the insurance company, not through the township.
Do you
So
think that we're not going to pay that insurance company? Do we still have that insurance company, or have they canceled us already?
No, they didn't cancel.
They haven't canceled us? $150,000, why do they settle so damn quick? Because they knew they didn't want to pay $250,000 or more.
Let's just...
That's why. Somebody made some stupid mistakes here. And it's about time we start looking at ourselves and what we're doing here. And especially in this day and age, we're talking about women's rights. And you guys are sticking it to a woman. And I don't think that's right at all. Now, I still don't have an answer as who made this decision. Who made the decision to give this woman such a hard time?
Well, I think the township would dispute your characterization.
I'm sure they would, since you lost the case.
Well, we didn't lose the case, sir. The insurance company settled it. The township...
Well,
they didn't-
$150,000
Sir, we got to do one at a
is the
time.
law.
I'm letting you talk. You got to let me talk.
$150,000.
Correct. The
is
insurance
law.
company paid it. It was their decision to pay that. The township actually objected to the payment and wanted the matter litigated, but ultimately the insurance company controlled the defense. So as a result, the settlement was approved. So those are the facts. The insurance company decided to settle it early because it was their decision. It was over the township's objection.
Well,
Those are the facts. So that's the way it was. So it's like if you
doesn't
got
make any sense.
if you
It sounds
got-
to me...
if you got sued, let me just say, if you got sued, if you're in a car, if you caused a car accident and got sued by someone you hurt in a car accident, your insurance company would control that defense. And if you thought it was the other guy's fault, if they decided to settle to cut their costs and not litigate it, you would have to say yes, go, because you lose control of the defense. It's the same thing that happened here. That's what you get when you
No, it
get
didn't.
insurance. Yes, it is.
No, it didn't.
Mr. Harvey.
Because you're talking about
Mr.
an
Harvey.
accident, and you're talking about supposedly a sophisticated decision made by intelligent people, and obviously the wrong decision was made here. And it cost this township, one way or another, $150,000. You may be looking for another insurance company come next year. And don't tell me that they didn't settle quick because they didn't want to have to pay $250,000. They knew they were going to lose that case, as far as I'm concerned. And they knew that they were going to get out of there as quick,
Mr. Harvey.
as easy, and as cheap as possible.
Mr. Harvest, do you have another comment?
I got quite a few. Is there someone else waiting to get up here?
At that I am unsure of.
And this infighting that's going on in this township between the administrator, the mayor, the police, and whoever else, I'm hearing fire companies and all other people. Why is it going on? Why is it going on? You people are intelligent people. You've been elected here to represent us. You're not egomaniacs that are defending yourselves. And I understand that maybe Mr. Gonzalez has had this problem before. Is that true?
Mr. Harvest?
If you have a comment, you can make a comment. We're not
All right,
cross-examining.
the question I have is, Mr.
Yeah.
Gonzalez has been fired from other municipalities for having similar situations occur in his township that he's worked in. Can you
No,
answer that?
no, it's not true.
You can't answer that?
No, it's not true.
Are you familiar with Trenton, New Jersey, where he used to work?
Do you want to go down this path?
I don't want smart remarks. I'm trying to get a point
No.
across here.
What's your point?
And you're giving me a hard time
Do
about
you
it.
want to...
It's not a joke.
No one's laughing,
You're
Mr.
saying
Harvest.
it's a
It's
joke.
not a
The only
joke.
one being overly aggressive, sir, is you. The one yelling at us. No,
You're starting to raise your voice
I am,
because
because
you're
you're
trying
yelling
to
at
make
us.
fun of me.
no.
Mr.
I'm not
Harvest,
gonna-
please
I answered
do
your
not-
question, and you said
I'm
you didn't
do
like
not
trying
the
to get
answer.
some answers
Please do
here
not make
on
accusations.
why... I'm sorry.
No one is making fun of you, and no one is laughing.
I'm
So
trying to
can-
understand why there is so little cooperation between supposedly administration and the elected officials here in running our township. And this event with this young woman, police officer, is a perfect example of it. And it cost eventually someone $150,000.
Harvest, you're going back to your original comment. Do you have another comment?
Yes. When are you going to change this? When are you going to work together and not let your egos get in the way of each other and your personal vendettas that are not helping this community at all? I'm very, very disappointed in it. And I think you should look at this administrator.
Mr. Harvest, do you have any other
May
comment?
I finish this? Or are you going to interrupt me again? I think you should look at this administrator who seems to be causing all the problems and does have a history.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Harvest.
Well, I finished.
Mr. Harvest,
I'm going to
ask
want to
you-
interrupt me again?
I'm going to ask
Again?
Mr. Harvest,
Let me finish my
I'm asking
sentence.
you one more time.
Wait,
Do you,
Can I just say, I think the point is that if you want to malign like municipal employees in public, that's not really the venue to do it. You're making personal attacks against our employees.
Now, I
think that's
can
the issue.
back them up with facts and figures, and we can
But they're
show
really
the
elected
problems
as
that
well.
have existed.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
I want you to be aware of it. I want you to do a better job in the future. And don't let this little petty stuff go on forever.
thank you for your
Right,
comments,
gentlemen?
Mr. Harvest. Thank you. Ms. Maldonado?
I thought tonight was going to be easy.
Terry Maldonado, Pemberton Township. Mr. President and members of the council, I came to you in the March's meeting and stressed my concerns about the tax surveyors going around and how I felt unsafe about being a single female and allowing the assessors into my home. Your administration showed up at my board meeting on March 24th and made accusations that I put myself out there and unlawfully representing myself as a school board member. Unfortunately, I did not. I spoke as a taxpayer. And you yourself know, as the positions that you hold within the township, I am a parent, I am a taxpayer, I am a school board member, and I am also a baseball coach. I do not appreciate certain administration coming to my school board meeting and trying to get me on ethics violations when I have the right as a taxpayer and the freedom of speech to say as I feel as a taxpayer. And I would hope this does not happen again. When I do come up here, I do address myself as a board liaison for the Pemberton Township Schools. Now, and like I said, as you yourself, we wear multiple hats. We are all in the position to do what we do. We are elected officials. This is true. So please, do not allow this to happen again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maldonado. Mr. Pelletier?
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Mr. President, I come in with two items I wanted to talk about, but now it's expanded to four. First of all, I just wanted to ask about the appraisal company there. Do they have any kind of a schedule, like what areas of the township going to hit, and when could I expect someone to, like, say, hit North Pemberton? Does anybody have any idea?
Administration just provided us with a report. I believe all the commercial businesses have already been done, and Country Lakes, and there were Presidential Lakes, and where else have already been started?
Pemberton Heights.
Yeah, there are 4 areas of the community that have already been started. I can't remember them off the top of my head. I don't know if anyone else has, but we've done 3,000 residents already, residential homes.
Wow, how many properties in the township? About 5,500? Something like that? 7,000. Oh, is it really? I looked at the data on online years ago in New Jersey by the numbers, and I thought there was something like about 5,600.
They're even doing like empty lots and farm areas and stuff like that. It's everything.
Okay. So, how can I find out
I'm sure they must have submitted a schedule. They got a contract. And one of the big things about contracts is you got to have a schedule. So I'd like to know when they're going to hit, my area up there. I think everybody should know when they're going to get hit, but that's impossible. If I called the company, would I get a response?
Well,
Or would I say
administration,
go through you guys?
could we see if there's some sort of game plan?
Two things. One, we typically will put some information on the website with regard to this, and call the tax assessor's office. They are managing the contract as it is the tax assessor's responsibility.
Oh, okay. So is there anything on the website? I've been on there, but I didn't really look for it.
So why don't you just call the tax assessor's office in the morning, and they'll take care of you.
All right, the second item is the suit there that you made a settlement on. Insurance company, is that Burlington County JIF?
Well, it's like the excess, right? It's the MEL, right? What was the MEL? It's not the MEL.
The Burlington County JIF, in working with the municipal excess liability JIF, which is a broader JIF, purchase employment practices, insurance coverage from a particular company that provides it to all of the municipal JIFs. So that insurance company is the one, through their policy, that controls the litigation.
Okay. So
I think in this case it was called XL Insurance.
Okay. What's it, like an umbrella policy, or is
Well,
it
it's
different?
No, it's a policy that's specifically for employment practices.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would also like to say I've worked 30 years in government, 2 years in the military, and I've been involved in labor relations work for 10 years. I happened to join my union. As a team leader, I was able to join. I wasn't a supervisor, so I was able to join. I spent 10 years as secretary-treasurer, and I did a lot of things what you call representational duties. I represented people on stuff. And one of the things that comes up is the question of light duty. And in the federal service, you're not guaranteed light duty. If they can find you a job to put you on light duty, they will do it. And so I always had big arguments with management over that. There are times when it can be done. But the problem is, though, are you showing any kind of discrimination? Well, you let these people have light duty, but then these over here. So, like say you have a welder that gets hurt, what kind of light duty can that man or woman do? So I don't really know the specifics of this case here. I'm not trying to be in the mayor's court, because I've never really been in his court, but I speak freely, and the same thing with the administrator. At the time he was being hired, I tried to get counsel to do an old-fashioned horse trading by getting the train station there, to re-listen counsel and have a second bite at the apple, so to speak, save the train station. And if you did, you'd get Mr. Gonzalez here as your administrator. Well, I mean, it's a parliamentary procedure, and they didn't fall for it, but believe me, folks, horse trading is alive and well in politics, and it happens all the time, but it didn't happen. So I just wanted to make mention of that it is it's a touchy subject, and it's not always that easy to do it. Now, I've represented people to try to get them that, but a lot of times it doesn't happen. So I just throw that out there. Now, also, I'd like to revisit an item that was on the agenda last meeting, and that was chickens. Now, at the time we had a discussion, anybody wanted to get up to speak, I was in the audience, but I really didn't know what was behind the issue. However, I left early, and I went out in the corridor, and the little girl and her sister and her mom was out there, and the little girl was crying, and there was a gentleman out there that was trying to console the girl, and he did a very good job. He's saying, I'm proud of you. You get up there, and you made a statement, and you wanted this stuff, and I asked the girl's mother, could I see the written statement? I saw it. The first thing that jumped out at me was 6 chickens. Now, I'd say 2, but you could look at it both ways. They're both arbitrary, right? But I looked in the code book a few days ago, and the only thing I saw was a reference about having wildlife and fowl. You needed an acre of ground. Now, you probably don't know this, but all over the country, if you read newspapers, I lived in 4 different states, and I go in and I read some of them. You get towns or cities like 80, 90,000 plus that actually pass ordinances permitting chickens in small lots. I mean, I think, what is the average size of a lot here, like for...
Quarter
what is it,
acre?
high density, is it like .20 acre? Something like that, right? Small. And they're fenced in, and I don't really see a problem with someone having chickens, not roosters, but chickens, as long as you got a fence. They won't cross into someone else's yard. They won't fly over the fence. They may try to fly into a tree at night to sleep. I mean, I'm familiar. I grew up on a farm.
They actually will get over a fence. I've had it
You had
happen to me in town.
You
yes,
must
sir.
have trained them.
Excuse me?
You must have trained them.
No, my lab really enjoyed them coming over to visit.
That's why they jumped the fence. It's like, why'd the chicken cross the road? Dog was chasing it, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think the issue's probably dead. Am I correct as far as council's concerned?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
Unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, because at the last meeting, there was also residents that came to the mic that did not agree with allowing.
That is
change.
correct. But I heard mention of roosters. Now, I don't think anybody wants to hear roosters. I mean, I lived in Brooklyn. They got no ordinance for chickens, but I heard roosters. You know what they were used for. So it wasn't for eating. Yeah, I'm kind of partial to that. I'd like to see the little girls and stuff like that have a couple of chickens to raise, and you could always have a garden. You can throw the manure on it. The droppings aren't really a problem, not as bad as a dog or dogs. You probably have the same acreage or confines of .25 acre. You're probably allowed to have 4 dogs. And a lot of people don't pick up after them, but all you need to do with a chicken is run out there with a garden hose, and you can take care of it. So I just want to mention that because I kind of felt bad. I would like to stood up and mention something in favor for the little girl, but I didn't really know anything that was going on with it. Okay, the last item is I brought up last time was engine braking, and I happened to contact my throat gets dry. Township of Mansfield over here. First I went on their website to see if they could check their code book and all stuff, and nothing's online. So I called up the police department over there, non-emergency line. And the reason I called that is because the sign that leads into the Mansfield Village has a sign that says no engine braking by order of Chief of Police. So I wanted to know the genesis of how this happened over there, and I'm sure how it started was engine braking aroused the residents. But did it go through committee, or did the police chief take it on their own and stuff? And I got no answer. I talked with the gal that works in there as administration. She says, well, the sergeant will be in. I'll ask him to give you a call. Well, she discussed it with him. He didn't want to call me. Who the hell is he? I don't know from Adam. So she called me back and saying, oh, they don't know anything about it. Now, you think I'd be surprised, right? No, I'm not. After 30 years in the government, it don't surprise me at all, because that's the way things seem to work a lot of times in government. So, what do I need to do as a resident who's fed up with hearing the engine braking need to do it? Do you want something submitted in writing through administration? Does it go straight to council? Do you want me to write up a sample ordinance? It's in your court.
Well, I mean, if you want to, I don't know if we need an ordinance, but you could, we could either write one if the council's interested, or you could submit one, we could work on it, whatever your pleasure is.
Why would we need an ordinance if we're just going to put a street sign up?
I thought it was about engine braking, he was talking.
Well, how do you enforce it if you don't have an ordinance? You say, please don't engine brake?
Yes, pretty much.
I'm not trying to be smart, Jack.
No.
It wouldn't be enforceable without an ordinance, he's right.
Yeah.
There's some towns that put up signs that about certain things, and they're like,
Well, the reason I say that is some of the roads in town are township roads. We can plow those and do other things, but some of them are county roads. Can we put signs on county roads and
I
enforce
understand
that kind of
This
thing?
is County Route 543 that goes through there, so they had a sign there, and it was by order of the Chief of Police of Mansfield Township.
So would we have to go through the county for this, or would
I
we
don't
be
know.
able to?
See,
And that's why I'm asking the questions. I'm not trying to be smart first.
No, I know, Jack, but the government specialists are here.
Right.
I mean, council is in a way, but you're
We're supposed to be
part-time.
too, right.
But specialists are here. They can get that answer. And the reason I say this is, I lived in New York City years ago, back in the late 70s, and I knew what it was like. I mean, I used to go out around town. I was a young fella, and always went out with 3 or 4 people. I mean, you had to. I mean, you go out there by yourself at night,
Mr. Pelletier,
forget it.
I really enjoy your stories. I really do. I think
What you want to listen to them?
we've listened for 12 minutes.
But anyway,
real fast.
I'll wrap it
I
up.
think
I'll wrap it up, okay? Thank you, Mr. President. See, what I'm trying to mention is that I saw a city change, and the city changed back when I went to visit in the 90s, when Giuliani was mayor. It's because they went after situations and they cleaned it up. Like people, urinating in the streets, jaywalking. I mean, standing on the corner, cleaning their nose and stuff. It's sickening stuff. And you start with the little stuff, and you work your way up, and you have a wonderful community. And it's happened in the Big Apple. And I just want to say that.
And to be honest, I've thought about what you said about the jake braking a couple times this week, and the only solution I would have would be a sign. For enforcement, let's be realistic. I mean, you've heard me before I got elected coming in here complaining about speeders on my street, and I still complain about it. If we can't enforce something like that, how hard is it going to be to enforce jake braking?
You ever confront them when they stop at the stop sign?
No.
Because I've done this in the past, and you always get the user response. Something you can't do, it's anatomically impossible for you to do yourself.
Right.
That's what you usually get.
Mr. Pelletier, so just to capture your comment, you would like to know if there's anything
Yes.
to be done about engine braking?
Engine braking.
Okay.
Yes, because I don't think it is necessary. On a steep grade, yes. But a lot of people do it. I mentioned owner-operators, the bigger carriers, they don't have that. And I hear it all the time, and I'm fed up with it, especially now since after 2001, traffic has increased immensely on, North Pemberton Road. Simply being because they changed the routing patterns into the fort and the bay.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you.
Seeing no other hands, this portion of the meeting is now closed from public comment. Consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the Township Council and will be enacted by one motion. Should a council member wish to discuss a consent agenda item separately, that item can be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the regular agenda. Council, are there any
Yes.
additions to the consent agenda, or would we like to pull anything?
I'd like to pull 100, 216 for the video cameras for the police. 105, 2016. 106, 2016. And can I pull 84, 2016 right now, or is that something later on?
It's not on consent agenda.
Okay. And the bill list, with the budget codes, page 3, legal, 601, 20, 155, 600, 271.
270, the amount.
I think it's EMS.
Okay, got it.
No.
Can I pull the fire too, since we know we're gonna get that pulled too?
Page 5.
Thanks, Ken.
Do we need to add a resolution? Can someone add that, please?
Oh, the Caterpillar?
What's the number?
Should be 107?
107.
I think that. Move to add resolution 107, 2016, resolution authorizing the purchase and installation of a new engine for a 12H Caterpillar road grader under state contract number 85847 in the amount of $18,877.19.
Is there a second
A second.
to add? Amy?
Mr. Cordier?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood? Yes. Mr. Tompkins?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson? Yes. Mr. Allen?
Yes. Council, if there's nothing else that needs to be pulled, or if there's no discussion, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Amy, please poll the council.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Tompkins?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Jack, you requested to pull resolution number 100-2016. This is a resolution for the police department to purchase 16 police vehicle video recording devices.
These are simple questions, just a little bit of clarification. I know we've purchased newer vehicles within the past year or two, and I think they were fully equipped when we purchased them. So I'm assuming that they don't need the new video equipment. Is that a correct assumption or a wrong assumption?
That is a good question, and I don't have the answer to. What the chief has told me was that a new system does not integrate with an old system. So if I were to take an educated guess, is that this is the 16 police cars that we use the most, which includes the cars that we purchased in the last couple of years, because you can't have a mix of one system and another.
Okay. So this will equip pretty much our entire fleet
This
we
will
use on a
equip
daily basis.
the entire marked fleet that we use. Yes.
Not the unmarked? Okay.
That begs the question then, what's wrong with the old system?
So,
Just because it's old doesn't mean it's not good.
The old system is, I'm told, is over 10 years, about 10 years old, Mayor, I think.
Yeah, and I believe it has something to do with the type of data collection and the format in which it collects. It's not compatible. I don't know if they're even making it anymore, so you can use that old system with the new stuff that we're working with.
and with the older electronic technology, if it's usually hit 5 years, it doesn't play well with other stuff.
And the chief, if I may, the chief indicates that some of them have failed and are failing and need constant repair. So, and video systems are required. So,
Told you it was an easy question. That was it. That's all I have on that one.
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass 100-2016 for the video recording systems in the police cars.
I'll second.
Amy, please poll the council.
Mr. Tompkins?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Jack, you requested to pull resolution number 105-2016.
Yes. Can you kind of explain what this project is, just briefly?
okay, if I may, this resolution is not to propose any project.
It's for funding for a project, though, correct?
No. We've received for both of the two, well, both 105 and 106.
Okay.
We've previously provided council with information that the township has been awarded these grants.
Okay.
The awards were made after the budget was introduced and adopted. What this action that we're asking the council to take is a standard statutory action that says that we have to pass a resolution to make a request to the Division of Local Government Services to insert the grant and the grant amount into the 2016 budget.
Okay.
It goes in both as revenue and an expenditure, so the net to the budget is zero. There's no impact on the budget. Prospectively, once we have the projects designed, we will come back to the council with respect to the designs and the award of contracts to implement the grant projects. This is just a ministerial insertion into the budget resolution.
Okay, and we're still, for the projects, we're still waiting on like Pineland's approval and some of the other things that we had discussed previously, correct?
On the one project where the $500,000 grant, that's going to take a lot of approvals. The other one is just the paving of Sepulga Drive.
Okay.
And there may not be any
No issues there?
for that, so it's just a repaving.
Okay, and this wasn't something I thought about, but since we had the agenda or the comments tonight, are we going to be looking at drainage and stuff before we do that? That way, if we want to put it in, we can do it instead of digging it up later on?
Public Works is already working on that.
Okay. That answers all my questions for both of those ordinance.
So, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to...
105 first and then 106.
I can't do them together?
Okay.
Yeah, 105, 216, and 106, 216.
Is there a second?
Second. I second the motion for 105 and 106.
Amy, please poll the council.
Mr. Tompkins?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood? Yes. Mr. Cartier?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson? Yes. Mr. Allen?
Yes. Other resolutions?
We still have one more of the bill list, right?
We'll work our way down
Oh, okay.
the agenda. Resolution number 83-2016. This resolution authorizes a contract with Andy's Pro Auto Repair for the provision of towing services in the township. This resolution was tabled at our previous meeting, I believe April 6th. We had some questions we wanted to get answered in the form of a report.
And we didn't get that. We got a certification, we didn't get a report. This is not a report. This isn't what we asked for.
I would agree with Ken. I was going to bring it up as well. They did not answer the questions that was asked at all on either or any of the three. So where do we go from this point? For our questions that was asked.
Well, the thing is, if we're going to request a new report, that's going to give us a little bit of time. And I have some questions on one of these applications. I'd like to maybe ask tonight to give this company an opportunity to answer the questions. And if they have to go back and do something, it gives them time to do what they need to do before we vote on everything. Did I explain that right? You're looking at me like I'm...
No.
Well, the problem is, negotiating contracts falls to administration.
The way this is right now, I would say no, and I would explain why, and I would anticipate council falling in line with my saying no, and it would be denied the way this is right now.
Well, you could raise your concerns or raise your points. The issue is you can't require or ask, we can't have a back and forth in the council meeting with one of the bidders about their submission, if that's what you want. You could raise your concerns and council can discuss them, administration can discuss them. It's all good public discussion. The only point is you can't get a back and forth with the bidder.
That's fine.
Does it pertain to this specific company, or is it going to be?
It's 84.
Okay. And the other thing, Ken, is that these have been on hold a while, and we're carrying over, and I think we only have, are both towers carrying over from the last contract right now?
Yes.
So that you just...
Yes.
Okay.
In terms of the council request for report, I would suggest that the council put together a specific request for a report and what you want in it, and as a council request that send it to us, but request that the police chief provide a report by a date certain, and then ask the chief to come to the next council meeting, if that's the date, to discuss the report.
Dennis, you weren't here, but there was a request for who completed the report, when was the report?
Well, and I forwarded that to the chief.
Yeah.
Well, how much, that is pretty detailed.
What the findings were for each facility and narratives on what was completed. That was
What Dennis is saying is, that's what we got.
Yeah.
And if you want more, and we've asked what you want, then our suggestion is that you request the chief, through way of administration by your rights under council, to appear at the meeting and answer your questions, and have him personally here to answer why he's not answering your questions that we've relayed to him.
Then I think we should do that. My other question would be, I think Jack might have mentioned it, would this